You know it's this. It's like a perk in the talk of this shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion new single, my hater, the big better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million, the devil, that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 5th part of What If Deku Enters Total Drama Island. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of Firearm 78910 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. We find Chris once again at the dock of shame ready to make the intro. Previously on Total Drama Island, campers had to build their own Hot Wheels in a motocross challenge to race for invincibility. There were big winners and big-time losers, and there was even some wicked off-the-track motocross stunts, but in the end it Izuku who won invincibility, while Katie and Lindsay had to be booted off. Katie for arriving last and Lindsay for using her quirk. Chris said as scenes from the previous episode is shown. Chris smiled as he began to speak again. But not before Lindsay decided to tell Heather off and forcing my boss to pay our editors extra moolah, which earned her the Platinum Camper. Who will be the next winner, who will be the next loser, and more importantly, who will renew my contract for next season? Chris said. Daniel raised an eyebrow and spoke. Dude, is that last one even a question? Daniel said. Chris blinked, realizing that Daniel was right. Okay, fair enough. All these mind-probing questions revealed on this episode of, Chris said as he does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. It was nighttime in Camp Wawanakwa, and the campers are watching a slasher flick about a guy with a chainsaw and a hook hand. The reactions are mixed for Duncan. He was enjoying it. DJ and Izuku were terrified. Everyone else was indifferent about it. He's coming out of the woods with a big hacking chainsaw. That's so cool, Izzy said with a grin. Oh no, psycho killer man's going for the car, Owen said. Yo fool couple, stop making out and start the goddamn car, Lashana said as she tosses some popcorn at the screen. They're gonna be chainsaw sushi, Izzy said with a laugh, only to slightly pale upon hearing the screams. Oh great Canadian cheese, the car won't start, Owen said. Oh man, I hate scary movies, DJ said, who's scared. Run, the psycho is gonna get ya, Izzy said. DJ was covering his eyes. Izuku was also shaking, not in fear, but in turmoil, knowing that he can do nothing. Something I need to talk to Mr. Lawson, Izuku thought. Oh shit, here comes the bloodfist, Cody said. Duncan was having a blast as he sees the bloodbath. Oh gross, the chainsaw psycho is going back to the woods. He's getting away. Yeah, good ending. Izzy loves scary movies, Izzy said as she jumps into Owen's arms. Owen looks at her with a fond smile. So does Owen, babe, Owen said. Duncan, DJ, Izuku and Cody give the big guys a thumbs up. Phew, I am glad that's over. I really hate scary movies, DJ said. Oh yeah, what scares you most? The part where everyone meets a grisly death or the psycho killer with a H-Ock, Duncan said as he scares DJ with a prop hook he found. DJ screams in terror. As the other campers say, Izuku chuckled at him. Confessional booth. Beep. Dude bruh, that was not effing cool, man, DJ shouted as he points at the Kamara. Beep. Oh come Deej, for a slasher flick it was pretty tame, Cody said. Yet there wasn't that much hacking, blood and gore, not like Bloodbath 2, Summer Camp Reign of Terror, Duncan said. Or the pre-quirk films of Halloween, Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, Cody said. Oh dude, going for the classics. Didn't know you had it in ya, Duncan said with a grin. What can I say there, what started the slasher genre of films, Cody said. Oh please, it's just mindless guts and gore, and before you tell it psychological and that, I want you to look me in the eye and tell me that modern stuff isn't just that, Heather said. Duncan and Cody stayed silent. Confessional booth. Beep. I hate to admit it, but Heather is right, modern-day horror movies don't have that same spark. She's still a bitch though, Duncan said. Beep. So does anyone have any idea what our next challenge will be this week? Heather asked. Yeah, where's the Chrismeister? Jeff said as he ate some popcorn. After Jeff said that the campers heard the sound of a boat motor turning on. Dock of shame. They find Chef was packing up the boat of losers with Chris inside, both looking scared. Yo Chef, where's the fire? Duncan asked. But the both of them left. As the boat went away, Owen noticed a green bag on the dock. Hey, you forgot this? Owen said as a newspaper fell out. Izuku noticed it and picked up the newspaper. Nanny? Escaped psycho killer on the loose? Be on the lookout for a man wearing a hockey mask with a hooked hand and wielding a chainsaw, Izuku said as he reads the newspaper. Okay, Izuku may be gullible, but this. He knew that this has Chris written all over it. Haha, he's on the loose, Izzy said. Oh, come the F on, they don't expect us to fall for this shit. A cheap-ass slasher flick, a choreographed escape, and a lame-ass prop. This has challenge written all over it, Heather said. I don't know, he looked pretty spooked, DJ said. No, Heather is right guys, this is something Chris would do, Izuku said. If that's the case, why would Chris leave behind his hair gel? Owen said as he held a Chris McCallum brand hair gel. This scares the other campers save for Heather and Izuku. So let me get this straight, Chris left us for dead, and now we're alone while that escaped psycho killer with the chainsaw is on the loose, DJ said. No, we're alone while that escaped psycho killer with the chainsaw and a hook is on the loose, Duncan said as he shows the prop hook. Thunk. Only to hear the sound of ack bracelet falling off. The hell? My ack bracelet? OF no, I am not getting disqualified, Duncan said as his hands shine in a plasma glow. Thunk, thunk, thunk. 8 identical sounds were heard, all of them being their ack bracelets being removed. What the hell? Heather said as she goes to her Lamia form. Oh guys, I think this is serious, Owen said as he flexes his fingers. Izuku tests out full cowl going up to his limit, which is 13%. Oh no, Izuku said. Attention campers, this is Chris McCallum. As some of you may have already guessed, this was supposed to be a challenge. However, something unexpected came up. As it turns out, there is a real psycho killer with a chainsaw and a hook on the loose on Wawanakwa. With that said, there is no challenge this week, Chris said as the campers gasped. Oh, what the flying fuck, man. DJ, who now has a pair of white wings on his back, said. Not to worry, Commander Rescue and Power Dude are on the case, but just in case I'll be releasing you from the bracelets until they get the guy, Chris said. That would explain it, Cody said as he holds his hands towards the lake. And a blast of wind shot out from Cody's hands. Yeah, it still works, Cody said. With that in mind, you lot need to help out the heroes, and yes, Izuku, that means you as well. We do things differently here in Canada, Chris said. Izuku puts his hand down. Now then, help out the heroes while do some paperwork. McCallum out, Chris said. The campers decide to go to the campfire site to make a plan, not knowing what was lurking in the dark. Heh. Sometime later, campfire site. Well then, we need a game plan for we can help, Duncan said. Wouldn't that be vigilantism? Izuku asked. Nah, that only applies if we're taking the law into our hands. If we use our quirks to show off, we're left with a fine. But if we're using them to defend ourselves or others, then it's cool, Cody said. Really? Izuku said, surprised at that. Yes, since the people of the Neo-UN remembered that both Batman and Iron Man are a thing, they kept the quirkless version of the vigilante law so that it will be easier to get those types of people, Duncan said. Any quirked version of the vigilante law is not recognized by the Neo-UN, Lashana said. But anyway, we need a plan. Super Dork will tell you about our quirks so that you can make a plan, Duncan said. Izuku nodded as he takes out a notebook from somewhere. Soon he gets to hear their quirks, and with it he makes a plan. It's not the best, but I think it will work, Izuku said. All right then, dudes, say where's Izzy, Owen and Heather, Jeff asked. I think Heather is getting a facial. Maybe she found enough wolves or coyotes for it, Lashana said. This caused the other campers to chuckle. As for Izzy and Owen, well, if we were still doing the horror movie challenge, then those two would be breaking rules 1 through 3, Duncan said. with Izzy and Owen. Izzy and Owen were making out and touching one another, completely ignoring the fact that there was a deranged psycho killer with a chainsaw and hook on the loose, but they weren't the only one on the loose. Himiko was watching everything go down, and she even saw and enjoyed the movie, though she was disappointed that there wasn't more blood and gore. It also didn't help that the beach was right about the modern horror movies. She sees the couple making and thought that they were super cute. She then frowns as she hears the whir of a chainsaw. "Izzy, did you hear that?" Owen asked. "I think that was a chainsaw. Do you think it the killer?" Izzy said. At that moment, the killer steps out. Chainsaw and hook ready to kill. "Izzy, quick question, what can your quirk do?" Owen said. "Oh right, my quirk is called fairy. I can shirk, fly and spread itching dust all over him," Izzy said. "Well, the itching powder is the only on I can legally use," Izzy thought. "Can you distract him long for me to use my quirk?" Owen said. "You got it, Izzy said as she shrunk to the size of a hornet and begins to not only fly but also to spread the itching powder. Expectedly, the powder began to make the psycho itch like crazy. "Okay, Owen, just what Grandpa told you, the heart first, then the rest," Owen said as he uses his quirk. As Izzy puts on more powder on the psycho, Owen starts to lose weight. "Yo, Owen, how much longer?" Izzy said as she comes back to normal as she see Owen. Owen was no longer the lovable fat oaf. Now he's a splitting image of the Giga Chad meme. Tall, filled to the brim with muscles, combed back hair and a goatee. He is still wearing the same clothes. "Oh fuck me mama likes," Izzy said as she looks at her man. "Thanks Izzy, as for what happened, this is the result of my quirk fat conversion. Basically, I can convert my fat cells into any biological, blood, plasma, organs, and with you saw muscles," Owen said. The psycho with wide eyes looked at Owen, but it was too late as Owen punched him towards the campsite, making the guy scream for his life. "A baby weren't supposed to capture him," Izzy said. Owen blinked, then face-palmed as he remembers that part. "My bad, Izzy," Owen said. After saying that and few moments of silence later, Izzy spoke. "Wanna F?" Izzy asked. "F yeah," Owen said. With that answered, Izzy somehow dragged Owen to some large bushes and well, you have an idea. "Well, goddamn, I better leave them alone," Himiko said with a blush on her face as she leaves Owen and Izzy in peace. With Chris and the others. Chris was keeping an eye out on the campgrounds with Inko, Iri, who was wearing a Freddy Krueger costume, Chef, and the two pro heroes Commander Rescue and Power Dude. Commander Rescue is dressed in an armored version of a firefighter's uniform. Power Dude, on the other hand, is wearing a blue and green spandex suit with a golden P on the center. All of them were looking for the psycho killer. Normally Chris would still do the challenge, but his boss reminded him the escaped psycho killers with a chainsaw, and a hook isn't covered in the contract, meaning the campers could sue him. It was then that Power Dude and the others saw the psycho killer flying out of woods and towards the campsite. "Well, that happened," Power Dude said as the others nodded. With Jeff and DJ. Jeff and DJ were looking for Heather in order to tell about the plan. "You think Heather will take it?" DJ asked. "I'm sure, bro," Jeff said, not too worried about it. As the two of them were talking, Himiko was watching them, hoping they would lead her to Izuku, but she did notice that one of DJ's wings was stretched out and pointing at something, or rather, at her. "Why is that wing pointing at me?" Himiko thought. DJ noticed this as well. "Hold, did my quirk find a sick person again?" DJ groaned. When Himiko heard that, she unsurprisingly did not take that well. "I am not sick, I am me," Himiko roared as she leapt towards DJ. Himiko tackled DJ to the ground, but DJ managed to hold her down. Himiko struggled as she tries to get free, but DJ doesn't let her. "Dude, she just attacked you, brah," Jeff shouted. "Do you think I don't effing know that?" DJ said as his wings got closer to Himiko's head. Once the tips of DJ's wings touched Himiko's head, DJ's eyes went wide. "Oh, F me. Yo, Jeff, you got anything that can calm her down?" DJ asked. "Even better, brah. All right, crazy bitch, feel the power of April 20th. Jeff said as he blew a green cloud on Himiko's face. DJ got off as to avoid it, and Himiko received the full blast of it. Himiko coughed and gagged at the stuff. She then turned towards DJ ready to kill him until she started acting funny. "Heh heh heh, wow, pretty colors," Himiko said before fainting. "Yo, what happened?" DJ asked. "I thought the date I said would have tipped you off, dude," Jeff said with a smirk. "No shot. You have weed breath?" DJ said in shock. "Yeah, though having this quirk suck for 2 reasons. One, I get a major case of the munchies," Jeff said. "And the second?" DJ asked. "I'm pretty much barred from traveling the world," Jeff said. "For real, bro, I thought cannabis was legal everywhere," DJ said. "Nah brah, in a lot places, yeah, but a lot more it's illegal," Jeff said. He felt bad for Jeff. He basically barred from traveling around the world, except for places where cannabis was legal. Right now, though, he had more things to worry about, mainly this blonde girl over here. So DJ picked her up and carried her on his shoulder. 'Cause if he was right, she needed blood 15 years ago. With the others, everyone else was keeping their eyes open for the psycho killer. "Any sign of him?" Izuku asked as Duncan shakes his head. "I'm sure we would have found him sooner than later," Lashana said as she eats a brownie. "You're right, Lashana-san," Izuku said as he takes a brownie as well. It was then a faint sound was heard. "Hey, you guys hear that?" Duncan asked. "Ah!" Psycho screamed as he lands on the ground. "The psycho killer," Duncan said as he fires a blast of plasma at him. The blast hits him on the chest and Lashana prepares her quirk. "Just get me a few seconds, little man," Lashana said as Izuku nods. Izuku fires up full cowling as he charges at the psycho, giving him a hard kick. Duncan fires another blast, hitting the killer. Izuku also punched the villain towards Lashana. Lashana took the moment to use her quirk. She conjured 4 giant crystal walls, trapping the psycho killer in. "Phew, goddamn, that took a lot out of me," Lashana said as she wipes the sweat off of her brow. At that moment, everyone else, including the pro heroes, arrived. "Yo, what took you all so long?" Lashana asked. "Well, looks like you caught the psycho killer with a chainsaw and a hook." "Well done, campers. Also, I just received word I used the footage here as an episode." "Oh, those sweet, sweet rating," Chris said. Izuku then noticed the unconscious Himiko. With wide eyes and a panicked tone, he calls out to DJ. "DJ, be careful, she's one of the villains I told you about," Izuku shouted, worried for DJ's safety. "I know, but I also that she's suffering from a critical case of blood frenzy," DJ said as he stood his ground. "Blood frenzy?" Izuku asked. At first he looked at Izuku as if he said something stupid, but then remembers that he is Japanese. To put it simply, those with blood quirks require to ingest a certain amount of blood or a special tea to function in society. If you don't get it, you suffer from blood frenzy. "Chris, I'm sorry, but due to me discovering a case of blood frenzy due to my quirk, I need to make a statement to the police," DJ said in a serious tone. Chris surprisingly nodded, knowing how serious this was. "I know. Chef, give the kid a bucket of blood for the trip," Chris said as Chef did just that. "I'm sorry guys, but I need to go," DJ said. "DJ," Izuku said. "Don't sweat it, super dork, he's not in trouble, it's due to finding a blood-frenzied person, he needs to make a statement to the coppers," Duncan said. "Sorry that my stay here is cut short, but I had a blast being here," DJ said. Group hug," Izzy said as everyone, yes, even Heather, hugged DJ. Soon DJ along with the heroes and Himiko left the island. Now, with 8 campers remaining, the challenging will only get harder from here. With Ochako. "Oh, thank God you're Izuku," Ochako said as she sees the end episode. Though it sucked to see DJ leave, she knew that he was right. For you see, Ochako had not been idle since she was eliminated. She had been reading up on the laws and requirement to be a pro hero. She also found out about blood frenzy, which made her feel sorry for Toga. She also found many laws that made sense, like a law banning all types of arranged marriages due to them being loopholes for quirk marriages. She now turns off the TV and goes to bed. Dream of her fluffy green-haired cinnamon roll. We find Chris once again at the dock of shame, ready to make the intro of the week. Last time on Total Drama Island, we believed that we would have a nice challenge involving Chef Hatchet as a psycho killer. Turns out there was a real psycho killer on the loose. But thanks to me releasing the campers from their bracelets, they managed to not only find the dude, but catch him as well, Chris said with a chuckle. Scenes from last week's episode are shown. But as it turns out, we had ourselves a blood-frenzied stalker on our grounds, one that our resident cinnamon roll was familiar with. DJ found out what was wrong with her and Jeff knocked her out with his quirk. Dude, when read about his quirk, I thought they were pulling my leg when I read his file, but this time I don't mind being wrong, Chris said as he pets a beaver. Ah, Chris, wouldn't that mean you can't use Jeff for the proposed third season? Daniel said. Okay, just for that you're getting your pay docked. But yeah, you're right. Anyway, due to some legal BS, Chicken Heart DJ had to leave. Only 8 campers remain. Who will win? Who will lose? Chris said as he fed the beaver peanuts. Only for him to get bit. Oh, who will need a rabies shot thanks to this ungrateful little bastard? Find out on this episode of, Chris said as he does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. It was daytime in Camp Wawanakwa, and we find our campers headed towards the lounge. Owen decides to tap Izzy's back to get her attention. Hey Izzy, last night was awesome, Owen said with a grin. Oh fuck yeah it was. Want do it again after the show? Izzy asked. Ah hey, what happened with the two of you? Duncan asked. Oh not much, but I got a home run with Izzy, Owen said with a shit-eating grin. No shot bro, Cody exclaimed while Izzy nodded. Yup, and Owen was packing, Izzy said as she laughed perversely. Oh dude really? Jeff groaned. Yup, Izzy said with a massive grin. Then the sound of a rope snapping shut was heard. Izzy looked around and couldn't find Owen. Hey, where's my bag of joy of 136 kilos? Izzy said. Hey, I'm only 134. Someone set a trap, Owen said as he dangling upside down. Soon a wooden cage fell on them. Or two, Owen said, face now red. Good morning campers, or should I say trappers, ready for today's challenge, Chris said while holding a beaver and a knife. The campers gasped. Excellent, then let's chat about it during chow, shall we? Chris said as he leaves. Ah, he's coming back to untrap us, right? Owen asked. Chris threw the knife at Rope and getting him down, only for him to break the cage. Groans of pain were heard as the campers picked themselves up. Camp lounge. Everyone was eating their meals, thinking about the challenge. Alrighty campers, there are only 8 of you left on Total Drama Island, and after tonight's dramatic bonfire ceremony, only 7 of you will remain. We're nearing the end, people, so look alive, Chris said. Confessional booth. Beep. What are my chances on winning? I'd say they're pretty fucking great, because anyone who doesn't vote for me is a dead man. Are you listening out there, all of you who are kicked off if you don't vote for me? I'll fucking find you, Duncan said as he gets up close to the camera. I am so stoked, the final 8, and I'm going all the way, dudes. Woohoo, I think I got a good shot at winning. Hell, I won student council president 2 years running, and I didn't even give a speech. I can do this, man, Jeff said. Do I have a shot at winning? I think so. I've faced greater odds than this show. Between the League of Villains, All for One, Overhaul, and Aizawa-sensei's constant and illegal attempts at expulsion, I got this. I'm doing this for you, Machai-chan. Izuku with a smile. Beep. Today's challenge involves making like our province's great rangers and game wardens. You'll each have 8 hours to trap an animal, Chris said. I got one, Duncan said as he holds one of Owen's arms. A wild animal, and bring it back to the campfire unharmed. Rangers and game wardens often have to relocate animals for their own good and the good of the people, especially quirked animals, which why rangers and game wardens are part of the list of professional trained to use their quirks, Chris said. Chris, who else is in that list? Izuku asked. Oh, the usual subjects. Pro heroes, police officers, firefighters, doctors, rescue groups, and the military, Chris said as Izuku's eyes go wide. Oh wow, Izuku said dumbfounded. Okay then, the rewards for winning today's challenge is a feast of your favorite foods, but also whoever brings back Irie's bunny Deku back unharmed receives a prize of Numer King Air RV. Yours to keep for during and after the show, Chris said as he shows off said RV. Holy hell, Duncan said. Whoa bro, that is awesome, Jeff said. Is the fridge fully stocked? Owen asked. Yes, Owen it is, Chris said. Awesome, Owen said. Confessional booth. Beep. I can't believe I'm in the final 8. Can you imagine me winning? That would be awesome. Everyone else here totally deserves it more than I do though. Except Heather, she's a beach, Owen said. The campers. Hell, even Papa will have a hard time against Deku. Why? It's simple, he has a quirk, and it's really strong, Eri said with a smile as she holds up the bunny. Deku smiled as he traces his paw across his neck. Beep. Boathouse. Everyone was at the boathouse ready to do the challenge. Chris with a hat and slips of paper in hand. All right then, chose an animal assignment, Chris said as Owen takes a slip of paper out of the hat. Chipmunk, Owen said. Frog, Lashana said. Raccoon, Duncan said. Duck, Cody said. Beaver, Jeff said. Deer, yes, I'm bagging a doe, Izzy said, happy with her choice. Lynx, I got a lynx, Izuku said. Bear, are you effing kidding me? Heather said. It's the only animal left, Chris said. These degenerates get a cute little froggy and sweet baby ducky and supposed to trap a bear with my bare hands, Heather said. Well, you do get 60 seconds in the boathouse to gather any equipment that might help, Chris said. Unless there's an animal trainer and a zebra carcass in there, I don't think it will be adequate. This is ridiculous, Heather said as she starts to walk away, but not before Chris speaks. I don't think I mentioned the penalty yet, Chris said. I don't care, I'll take it, Heather shouted. Loser cleans the communal washroom, Chris said. Everyone gasped and Heather was frozen. Owen all the while apologized for what he did. All right, campers, you have just 1 minute in the boathouse to grab your critter catching gear, Chris said. With that in mind, everyone went in the boathouse getting the stuff they needed. Duncan with a chainsaw, Izzy with various items, Owen with paper towels, Jeff with a burlap sack, Cody with duck bait and a fish net, Heather with a regular net, Izuku with a hook and some rope, and finally Lashana with a bucket. Confessional booth. Beep. I guess I can win. Don't get me wrong, between the food, the bugs and cameras, I can take it, but Heather, she's a beach. Let's face it, the only reason I would stay here would be for the various millions of dollars they're offering, Cody said. Beep. I assume I'm the favorite to win. I mean, look who's left. Weird nerd boy, a criminal, a fart machine, a party dude, a psycho hose beast, Lashana, and an illegal pro-hero wannabe. The only he is going for him is a girlfriend, and the fact that he didn't make any enemies whoop-de-effing do. We're not here to make friends. We're here to win, and that is exactly what I plan on doing, Heather said as she snaps her nail file in half. Beep. As the camper leave the boathouse with their items, Izzy was looking through the boxes until she found a tranquilizer gun. Izzy aimed the gun at only for Heather to tell her to aim the other way. All right then, is everyone ready? Chris asked. Yes, the campers said. No, Heather shouted. Who cares? Eri, release Deku, Chris said as Eri nods. Eri then whispered something into Deku's ear, and the bunny grinned like a madman, or bunny in his case. With that said, he went on his way. All right then, game on, Chris said as the campers left to find their animals. Confessional booth. Beep. Okay, see, Heather is my competition, and as much as it makes me want to fucking puke my guts out, I knew I had to get on her good side. Still a beach though, Duncan said. Beep. You can borrow my chainsaw after I'm done, Duncan said. Great, the bear can use it to skin me alive after he's finished mauling me, thanks, Heather said as she take out a large hook from a box. Well, I did pick something up that might help you, Duncan said as he pulls out a pair of fake antlers from the paintball challenge. Why would you want to help me? Heather asked. Because if you team up with me, I'll take you to the final 2, Duncan offered. Not interested, Heather said as she left. Suit yourself, Duncan said. I usually do, Heather said. She'll be back, just wait, Duncan said with a grin. With Cody. Cody was hiding behind a bush while his quarry was eating breadcrumbs. All right, Ducky, let's get this over with, Cody said. The duck takes one look at Cody, sticks out its tongue and runs off, and by runs off, I mean it ran as if it was the road runner. The F? A confused Cody said. Confessional booth. Beep. Is this reality TV show or a Looney Tunes cartoon? Cody said. Beep. With Lashana. With find Lashana near a small swamp where she finds the frog. This is gonna be way too easy, Lashana said as she summons Murphy. Confessional booth. Beep. I think I got a good a shot of winning as anyone else, and I'm not gonna let anything stand in my way, y'all. I've just gotta keep winning invincibility so that bitch Heather can't vote me off. Manipulative pain in my ass been trying to get rid of me for weeks, Lashana said. Beep. As Lashana tries to get close to the frog and hops away. This happened multiple times until Lashana somehow sinks into a puddle. Lashana rises from the puddle with the bucket on her head. Yeah, Froggy's gonna pay, Lashana said. With Heather. Heather had just managed to capture the bear she was meant to get. With a bit of luck, she is now dragging the bear back to camp. Ha, the only way this would be better is if I find that damn bunny, Heather said. Hey, Beach over here, a deep voice said. Who the F said that? Heather said. She turns around to see. Deku? Oh, this is too perfect, Heather said with a smile. Oh, you are going down Beach, Deku said as he begins to glow. She sees that Deku was growing taller and gaining clothes and a beard. Once the light dies down and putting on a cowboy hat on his head, Deku speaks again. Now then, I'm gonna hit you with so many lefts that you'll be begging for a right, Deku said with a grin as he cracked his knuckles. With Duncan. Duncan had managed to find a lone raccoon. Hey buddy, hey little pal, come on, let's go for a walk, Duncan said as he hears something behind him. What was behind him was a nursery of raccoons, all of them angry at Duncan. Oh, so that's how it's gonna be. I didn't want it to come to this, Duncan said as he takes out his chainsaw. The nursery looked at Duncan's threat and glared at him. All of them combined until they turned into a giant robot. Roar. That's more than meets the eye, Duncan said. With Izzy. Izzy was trying to find a deer but was looking at the wrong spot. She also used her tranquilizer gun on Chef. Whoops, Izzy said. Confessional booth. Beep. Oh my gosh, I should totally win. Okay, you know that one time I dressed as a bear and scared everyone. I was like Rower and they were like, ah, save me. Well, if someone else dressed up as a bear and it wasn't me, I totally wouldn't have been scared. I would have known, which makes me smarter than they are. Oh, did I forget to mention that I have an ick of 188 because I do, Izzy said. It's true, I read her file, and yes, she does have an ick of 188, Chris said as he holds Izzy's file. Beep. With Izuku? Izuku was looking for his links. So far he hasn't found it. I see that the obvious solution still eludes everyone, a voice said. Huh, who said that? Izuku said. Oh, for the love of God, look up, the voice said. Izuku did as such and saw that it was the links. The links, Izuku said. I go by Reinhardt, young man, the now named Reinhardt said. Oh, sorry, Reinhardt-san. I kind of need you to come with me, Izuku said. I will do for a plate of cooked venison. Rare, Reinhardt said. Oh, we have a deal then, Izuku said. Excellent. Now let hurry before that damned duck gets there first. It may be fast, but it is not smart, Reinhardt said as he jumps down from the tree and lands on Izuku's arms. Okay, Reinhardt, Izuku said. Good thing you got me and not that nursery hive mind, Reinhardt said. With Duncan. Duncan was being chased by Mecha Raccoon fires more raccoons at Duncan where one lands on his head. But this causes the both of them to fall off a cliff. Well, at least I got a hold on you, Duncan said as he lets out a groan of pain. With Owen. Owen is climbing a tree where a chipmunk resides. The naturalist is at one with the wild. He is part of it. Making eye contact creates peace, creates brotherhood. We are one little fellow. Yes, we are one, and you're the only thing standing between me and victory. Still, I love you, Owen said. But the chipmunk wasn't having it, so it bit Owen's nose, causing him to fall down from the tree. Oh, Owen said as he sees the chipmunk using a parachute. campfire site. We see Izuku headed towards the cage. When he opens it, he puts the links inside. "All right then, I did my part, now you do yours," Reinhardt said. "I will." "Hey Chris, I'm done," Izuku said. "Well, hot damn, you actually did it. The winner is Izuku." "Ready for your dinner?" Chris said. Izuku was about to say something when he sees a dust cloud rolling in and Cody's voice. "Izuku, open the effing cage," Cody shouted. Izuku does it, and in goes the duck. Cody sighs in relief only to see Izuku's links. "You what F it, at least I'm not the one who has to clean the washroom," Cody said. "Arg god effing damn it, open the cage," Duncan said as he rushes towards the cage. Once there, he tosses the raccoon inside. Duncan takes a few breaths and looks inside the cage. "Oh well, at least I don't have to wash Owen's shitfist." "Where's Heather?" Duncan said. "With Jeff." Jeff had managed to find 3 beavers, and despite getting slapped by their tails, he managed to get all 3 of them. With Izzy. Izzy fires her gun once only, this time hitting a horse. "Whoops," Izzy said. With Lashana. Lashana had captured her frog after sinking into another puddle. "Ha, you thought you could mess with this sister, eh, froggy?" Lashana said. Ribbit. With Izuku and the others. Izuku was enjoying his feast, as was the lynx. "I must say, chef, you make one hell of a venison steak," Reinhardt said. As the two feasted on their prizes, Jeff came by and placed his 3 beavers into the cage, followed by Lashana and her frog. "I don't know about you, but I'm gonna get a fucking shower," Lashana said. "Chris, open the effing gate," Owen said as he destroys the food Izuku was eating. Upon entering the gate, Owen is surrounded by the other animals and proceed to maul him. Izuku felt a bit bad for Owen as he did ruin his food. But then he heard a scream. "Ah!" Heather shouted as she landed on the ground. "What the hell?" Duncan said. "Oh, F that damned rabbit," Heather said before falling down. "A rabbit?" Cody said. Soon the group see a rabbit person come out of the woods. "Hey there, Beach," the rabbit person said. "You're going down, Deku," Heather said. "Deku?" everyone but Chris shouted. "Yup, I may have forgotten to tell that Aries' new rabbit Deku is a quirked rabbit," Chris said. "Hold up, oh F me sideways, I know what his quirk is," Cody shouted. "You do, Cody, what is it?" Izuku said. Deku answered for him. "It's called Chuck Norris," Deku said. Deku. Quirk name, Chuck Norris. Quirk type, transformation. Quirk description. Allows Deku to transform into Chuck Norris and gains all of the abilities of Chuck Norris, both non-fictional and fictional. However, upon transforming back into his rabbit form, he cannot use the form for 6 months. Everyone was confused about the chart that had just appeared until a voice spoke up. "Sorry, my quirk is acting up," an intern said. "It all right, dude," Chris calls out. "Now with that out of the way," Deku said as he rushes towards Duncan. Duncan was but had managed to catch both of Deku's fists. "Ha, not so tough now, eh?" Duncan said with a smirk on his face. Only to have said smirk wiped off his face with an uppercut. Duncan was dazed but saw that the uppercut came from a third fist. Cody spoke up. "They say underneath his magnificent beard lies a third fist," Cody said. "I would have liked to know earlier, nerd," Duncan said. Everyone tried to fight off Deku, even Izzy, who threw a lump of coal at him. Only for Deku to catch it and turn it into a diamond. "All right, who's next?" Deku asked. "I am, you effing wabbit," Heather said. Heather charged at him and Deku decides to do his ultimate move. The roundhouse kick. "Oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. We to effing stop him now," Cody said, terrified. "Cody, it's just a roundhouse kick, right?" Izuku nervously said. Izuku, according to the lore of Chuck Norris, the estimated energy given off by the Big Bang is equivalent to 1 CNRK. Cody explained. "One Chuck Norris roundhouse kick," Izuku said with wide eyes, realizing what Cody meant. Just as Deku was about to land the roundhouse kick, Daniel jumped in and used his quirk. Daniel. Quirk name, Bubble Trap. Quirk type, Emitter. Quirk description. This allows Daniel to trap anything within a basketball-sized bubble made out of energy. Current limits of the bubble are unknown. Sorry, the same intern said. God damn it, Daniel said, struggling with the bubble. As he tries to contain the bubble, Deku managed to punch Heather again, knocking her out. At least I got to beat the shit out of Heather, Deku said as he transforms back into his bunny form and went to Izuku's side. Almost there. I can do this. Plus effing ultra, Daniel roared as he managed to close the bubble with a mighty clap. In a flash of light, the bubble closed, and when the light died down, it revealed a ball the size of a basketball where an entire universe resided. Confessional booth. Beep. I have just witnessed the beginning of everything, and it was glorious, Daniel said, still at awe of what he did. The nice intern told me that I can keep it. Oh, and Deku gave me a shiny rock, Eri said as she shows both the universe ball and diamond at the camera. Beep. Campfire site. Well, I don't think I need to tell you that Izuku is the winner of not only the challenge but also the RV, Chris said as the other campers turned to see Izuku holding Deku. God damn it, Duncan said. Izzy, Heather, since both didn't get your animals to their cages, you both lost, though only one of you will clean the washrooms, Chris said. Izzy said. Heather, on the other hand, growled. Welp, see you guys tonight, Chris said with a grin. A few hours later. Everyone was now at the campfire site ready for their faith. Izuku was once again holding the platinum camper, while Heather held the graham cracker of disappointment for nearly destroying the universe. You've all casted your votes and made your decision. When I call your name, come up and claim your marshmallow. The camper who does not receive a marshmallow tonight must immediately return to the dock of shame to catch the boat of losers and leave. That means you're out of the contest and you can't come back. Ever, Chris said. The campers nodded. All right, the first marshmallow goes to Jeff, Chris said as Jeff gets the marshmallow. Owen. Lashana. Duncan. Heather. Izuku. 1 marshmallow, 2 players. Izzy, Cody, one of you spent your last night on Total Drama Island. That marshmallow goes to, Chris said as he pauses for dramatic suspense. Cody, Chris said as he gives the marshmallow to Cody. And well, we've all got to go sometime, right? Izzy said. I miss ya, Izzy, Owen said as she kisses Owen. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out, Izzy said as she throws a smoke bomb and disappears. Heather, as the loser you have to clean the washrooms, Chris said as Heather sneered at Chris. With Izuku. Izuku and the rest of campers, except for Heather, were partying in Izuku's new RV and they were loving it. Yo, super dork wicked party, Duncan said. Izuku smiled. Despite being in this island, he was loving it. With Chris. Chris was smiling. That would mean that some interns are going to die. But Chris was covered with his contracts, which covered a lot of things. Pregnancies. That was covered. Death. That was covered. Lawsuits that protested justified eliminations. That was covered too. It now included psycho chainsaw killers with hooks. But this smile, oh ho, Chris was happy because Daniel thought up of an idea and a solution for next week's challenge. My dude, are you related to my boss? Because that is an awesome idea, Chris said with a smile. Glad to help, Daniel said. Expect a pay raise and promotion, my new employee, Chris said. Daniel couldn't help but smile at his promotion. He couldn't wait for next week. We find Chris once again at the dock of shame, ready to make the intro of the week. Last time on Total Drama Island, the campers got sent out on safari. They made like they were zookeepers, although some of them might want to look at other careers. Duncan and Heather tried to make an alliance, but it failed before it could start. Everyone did okay, I guess. Alright, they sucked. Oh, and Heather nearly destroyed the universe with the help of Deku and his quirk Chuck Norris, Chris said. Scenes of last week's episode are shown. What's next to Bunny, Sagatas, and Shiro? Daniel asked. Chris shrugged as he continued with the intro. Anywho, Izzy went out with a flash. After my new employee saved the universe. Now 7 remaining campers will get way too close for comfort. Will Duncan and Heather try the alliance again? Will Izuku keep on getting lucky? And who will be voted off this week in the most dramatic campfire ceremony yet? Find out tonight on, Chris said as does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. It was morning in the camp where the campers are all sleeping. Izuku was sleeping in his new RV with Eri and Deku. Last night's party had made a mess, but it was no harm. Izuku, the fridge was still half full. Owen was in the cabin dreaming of cheese, donuts, and helicopters. That last one turned out to be true when Chris arrived on his helicopter. Welcome back to Total Drama Island. Over the past 6 weeks, we have seen 17 campers put themselves to the limit, and they get their asses whooped off the island by their fellow campers. Sucks to be you, Courtney, Tyler, Noah, Justin, Sadie, Beth, Ezekiel, Trent, Harold, Eva, Ochako, Gwen, Bridget, Lindsay, Katie, DJ, and Izzy. Chris said as scenes of the eliminated campers are shown. Chris steps out of the helicopter as he speaks again. Only 7 campers remain, and after 6 weeks of bugs, shitty camp food, and even shittier bathrooms, our 7 finalists are about this close to losing it. We strove to come up with the best way to help the campers distress, Chris said. The campers perked up only for Chris to smile. Then we decided it would be way more fun to handcuff them together and see if we couldn't push them over the edge, Chris said as he shows a pair of handcuffs. Did Duncan's parole officer send a care package? Heather asked. Nah, all in the name of today's challenge, the tri-arm triathlon. Oh, and before anyone points out the obvious, Izuku, come over for a second, Chris said as Izuku did just that. Yes, Chris, Izuku said. Izuku, I've noticed that you've been getting very lucky these last 6 weeks, but I'm here to say that has run out. Well, not yet, but after this it will. Izuku, you will be exempt from today's challenge and elimination, but you'll have to hold on to this, Chris said as he hands Izuku the graham cracker of disappointment. Well, this sucks, Izuku said. Now then, 3 challenges, 3 teams of 2, 3 arms per team, Chris said. Have you met these people? I am not being chained to any of them, Heather said with her arms crossed. Winning team members get invincibility from tonight's vote. Confessional booth. Beep. Cody was in the confessional with arms crossed as he started to speak. 6 long weeks, I don't know how much more of this I can take. The people who cresses me the most are Heather and Jeff. Heather needs no explanation, but Jeff, I will admit, I like partying like the next guy, but dude, you can't just make your life all about partying, Cody said. The camp is great and all, and I'm seriously stoked to be here, Jeff said. He sighs before continuing. Yeah, I miss my buds back home. Yo, if you're watching, this is a shout out to my bros back east, man. It's not I like everybody who's left, they're just kind of downers. Except Owen, that dude can party. Lashana is cool. Izuku as well. Cody is kinda of meh. Duncan is a badass, and Heather, sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record, but she's a beach. I thought getting to the final 7 would be like a big party, but it's kind of heavy, man, Jeff said in a sad tone. This place is torture, man, at least in juvie. We had a half hour of television a day, and they keep the crazies and the more volatile quirks locked up separately. I mean this outhouse. It's the only place I can go to get some peace and quiet. Oh, and you do not want to come in here after Owen caused damn, Duncan said as takes a deep breath and shudders. Yo, this is a shout out to all my sisters back home. What's up, y'all? Girl, you would not believe the crazies they got up in here. But I came to win, and I'm hanging on, baby. Only 6 more campers to go, Lashana said with a determined smile. Yeah, baby, ha 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 ha, final 7. A place at the table, Owen said as he loudly cheered. Keep it down, Duncan said. It's pretty awesome to be here. I'm so psyched, dude, woohoo, Owen said. Beep. I know I'm doing today's challenge, but I am excited to be in the final 7. In all honesty, I thought I would be kicked out by the 5th or 6th episode, Izuku said, scratching the back of his head. Izuku took a deep breath. Now, though, I think I can win this, and if I don't win, I still have more than enough money for Eri's future, Izuku said with a smile. That's when his eyes go wide. Holy shit, I'm a dad. I hope I do better than Hisashi, Izuku said. Beep. Camp lounge. We find the campers now linked up to their partners. Duncan with Lashana, Owen with Heather, and lastly Cody and Jeff. Izuku was sitting in a chair, still stunned at the realization that he is a father, while Eri was sitting on his lap eating an apple while wearing a fez hat. First of all 3 challenges, competitive chow down, Chris said. Hey, oh come on, this is like a dream I had once, Owen said. The donut copter dream? Heather said, knowing that it was the same dream that Owen had this morning. You had it too? Owen said. No, Heather said. Okay, each team will have a feeder and an eater. The eaters must put their hands behind them, making it more difficult for the feeders, Chris said. The campers nodded. Oh, one last thing, this is the wimp key. A skeleton key that will open any handcuffs. You'll be offered the wimp key at each challenge to a shot for yourselves from your teammate, Chris said as he shows them a gold key with a skull in the end. Heather gasped as she looked at her cuffs. But if you choose to accept it, you'll both be eliminated, Chris said. Hello, how do we win this thing? Heather said. Chefs getting platters for each team title goes to the team that finishes the platter the fastest, Chris said. I'll do the chowing down, Duncan said. I don't think so, scrawny chicken leg motherfucker, Lashana said. Arm wrestle for it then, Duncan said. You on fool, Lashana said as they do just that. Cody looked at the other campers and then back to Jeff. We don't need to fight or anything, eh? We're a team, dude, Jeff said. So you eat and I serve, Cody said. Yeah, sure, dude, Jeff said as Cody nods. At that moment, Chef placed down the food platters, which consisted of a green chicken, a cheesecake, quiche, and something else. Ooh, delicious, Owen said. I don't think chicken is green in nature, Heather said. Maybe it's lemon lime chicken, Owen said. Heather thinks about for a second before speaking again. You know, considering I got my ass kicked by a bunny that can turn into Chuck Norris, and that guy's trapped an entire universe in a bubble, lemon lime flavored chicken might not be that big of a stretch, Heather said. Duncan wins the arm wrestle match and becomes the eater. Soon the eaters placed their arms behind their backs and the challenge commenced. The campers soon began eating the food and Izuku decides to take Iri out for a walk. Duncan is being force-fed, Owen tells Heather to go faster, and Jeff actually thought the food was good. But in the end, Heather decides to say F it and shoves the tray on Owen's face, making him eat it all and thus emptying the entire platter. The winners are Heather and Owen, Chris said as Heather hugged Owen, all while Owen was weirded out. Confessional booth. Beep. Heather was really nice when I won the eating contest. At first I was confused, but then I remembered that this is Heather. This is kind of her SH tick, Owen said. Beep. So to all of the campers that had already left the island, I just want to say first of all that I personally prefer to call you winner challenged. Secondly, I know that some of you may have though that the strategy I used on the island was a bit harsh, but I was only playing the game the best way I knew how. It was never personal. I admire each and every one of you, and I hope you consider that when you think about who really deserves to win. Thanks, Heather said. Beep. Wow, that has to be the biggest sack of BS I have ever heard, Daniel said. Beep. Camp lounge. What a team, Heather said as Owen's stomach started to grumble. Oh shit, Heather thought. Speaking of teamwork, how are you with toilet paper? Owen asked. Outside. Owen was dragging Heather towards the bathroom while he farted along the way. Once inside, he released the biggest fart ever. Heather screamed in terror when that happened. Confessional booth. Beep. Heather is seen breathing in and out of a paper bag. Owen is effing revolting. If I make it out of this garbage heap alive, I will issue a restraining order on his oversized ass. No offense, Heather said. None taken. I would have been surprised if you didn't do that, Owen said. Okay, that is something actually believable, Daniel said. Beep. Dock of shame. Chris was dangling the wimp key at the campers, tempting them to take it. Last chance for the tempting wimp key before part 2, Chris said. Duncan and Lashana have a face-off. Dare you, Duncan said. After you beach, Lashana said. Look, since you and I aren't really seeing eye to eye on this challenge, maybe we should. Shut up and focus, Owen, you're not get out that easy, Heather said. Confessional booth. Beep. It was worth a try. Heather scares me a bit, Owen said. Beep. Dock of shame. What's the challenge, Chris? Jeff asked. On the beach you will find 3 canoes, 1 for each team. Your challenge is to paddle your canoe while wearing handcuffs, Chris said as he waves the wimp key around. No one took the key. All the way to Bony Island. Once there, you will open a package that is waiting for you. Go, Chris said as he started the challenge. Only to be trampled by the competing campers. Oh, okay, I deserved that, Chris weakly said. At the beach, Duncan and Lashana arrived first and immediately begin arguing. Nah, I'm riding in front, sweetheart, no arguments, Duncan said. Don't you pull that tough guy stuff with me, sweetheart? Why don't you just little Lashana sit in the front so I can steer? Lashana said. PFFT little, are you kidding me? You're thick as F, Duncan said. Say what? Lashana said, confused at this. I'm not suicidal enough to say the F word to you, Lashana, Duncan said. With Owen and Heather. Owen was pushing his canoe while Heather cheered him on. Push it, big boy, like it's a big old truck of donuts, Heather said. Oh, fuck yeah, Owen said as he pushes the canoe into the lake. Jeff was telling Cody about a pool party he had with his friends. So basically you and Jay pretty much turned the school into a golf course and you weren't expelled, Cody said. Yup, it was awesome, Jeff said with a grin. More like crazy dude, Cody said. Yeah, it kind of helps that my old man is the number 5 hero of Canada, Jeff said. Cody's eyes widen. No effing shot, your dad is Winslash, Cody exclaimed. Yup, Jeff said. With Lashana and Duncan. Lashana and Duncan were arguing about the canoe. It escalated when Lashana spoke about the bunny. Okay, fine, I thought the little one deserves a pet after all of the bullshit she went through, Duncan said. Well, that is true, but I knew underneath all that crusty shell there was a big heart, Lashana said with a smile. Yeah, well, just go spreading it around, okay, Duncan said. Dude, you do know that we're on TV, right? Lashana pointed out. Duncan, with wide eyes, could only say one word. F, Duncan said. With Heather and Owen. Ever since I was little, I've always felt like no one really listens to what I have to say. I'm a person who feels things deeply, Owen said. Owen, no offense, but I really don't care, Heather said. Then Heather notices something. There on the shore I see them hurry up, Heather said. When they do, and upon opening the bag they find a tablet. After which Chris, who was on his helicopter, flew down and spoke. Welcome to the second part of the second challenge. It's a simple one. All you have to do is find Izuku and Eri at the center of Bony Island utilizing those tablets. Oh, by the way, the Tiki idol is still somewhere in the island, so don't take too long. For the longer you're in Bony Island, the worse your luck will become, Chris said. This can't get any worse, Duncan said. Oh yeah, one of you has to piggyback the other. Enjoy, Chris said as he flies off. Hop on, cowgirl, Owen said as Heather did just that. Cody on me, little dude, Jeff said. For once I'm okay being small, Cody said as he hopped on Jeff's back. A guy's has his limits. Mine's about 300, Duncan said before Lashana started to beat him up. At the center of Bony Island, Izuku was sitting on a chair waiting for the campers to come get him. Right now Izuku was playing checkers with his daughter Eri. Daughter. No matter how many times Izuku thought about it, he couldn't see Eri as anything else but his little girl. Was he nervous about fatherhood? Yes, he was. But by Nezu he can do this. Also, he was pretty sure that Nezu has the adoption papers ready for him. I win, Papa. Can we play something else? Eri said. Okay, what do you want to play? Izuku asked. Oh, Mr. Mousy taught me a fun game. It's called Shumi, Eri said as she made a pouting thinking face. Thank the rat that Daniel gave him a Polaroid camera to capture this moment, since Chris took away their phone as per the contract. Do you mean Shogi? Izuku said. Yeah, Shogi, can we play that please? Eri asked, using her puppy eyes. Do we even have a Shogi board? Izuku asked. Oh yeah, Mr. Mousy gave me one, Eri said as she pulls out a Shogi board from somewhere. Of course he did, Izuku said with a flat look on his face. Confessional booth. Beep. I want to be surprised by Nezu, but I'm not, Izuku said with a pout. Nezu was just laughing maniacally. Beep. Jeff and Cody came out of the forest to find Izuku, and Eri playing shogi and Izuku was losing. "Okay, I will admit Mr. Mousy taught you well, Eri," Izuku said as he notices Jeff and Cody. As did Eri. "Can we finish our game before going back to the camp?" Eri said, using her eyes again. To which they did, but despite that they won. Sometime later. Camp Wawanakwa. "And that's a point for Cody and Jeff Dream Team," Chris said. "Hell yeah, that's my partner," Cody said. The both of them high five. So an awesome day, right? Moldy food fights, carnivorous beavers, and the confirmation that Nizu is making Eri into one of his generals. But it's time for someone to win this thing. A point each for the teams except for Lashana and Duncan, who can still put a stopper. Today's final challenge, Chris said as pulls a cover revealing a bunch of wooden heads. Owen screamed as he saw the heads. "Oh, relax, it's just Eva," Heather said. "The totem pole of shame and humiliation. Your task: assemble the heads in the order of which your comrades were voted out. Unless you want the wimp key, time for heads to roll," Chris said as explained the challenge, shakes the key and blows the whistle. "Nice guy, Justin. Look, even his wood carving is smoking hot," Owen said. "Owen, are you bi or something?" Heather asked. Owen raised a finger and thinks about it for a bit. His eyes go wide after a few seconds. I think I am Heather. Holy shit, I'm bi," Owen said. While Owen discovered his newfound bisexuality, Cody and Jeff were having some trouble with the totem pole. "Okay then, who was the fifth to be gone, Katie or Sadie?" Cody asked. "I think it was Katie," Jeff said. "No, hold up. I think it was Sadie. Yeah, it was Sadie, I remember, because I had to comfort Katie after she was gone," Cody said. "Oh, that's right. Nice one, bro. Now, who's the sixth?" Jeff said. "While those two put their heads together, let's see what our most argumentative team is up to," Chris said as he sees the two getting a good lead. That when he noticed something. "Oh ho, what is this?" Chris said with a smile as he takes the carving of Courtney's head. "Don't," Duncan said. It was a classic tree carving of a heart with a D+C on it. "It's not funny, man," Duncan said. "Most guys kiss girls they like. This dude carves her head. Mr. Tough ain't so tough," Chris said with a chuckle. Only for Lashana to throw the wooden head of Sadie at Chris, knocking him down. "Who said we gotta be tough all the time, huh?" Lashana said with a smile. With Heather and Owen. While Lashana and Duncan made their totem, Heather was glaring at the wooden head of Izzy. "Oh, little Miss Crazy. They should have made her wear a helmet," Heather said. "We're not there yet," Owen said. "Can you believe she's roaming the streets wild?" Heather said. "Can we stop talking about this?" Owen angrily said. "She's a danger to all sane people everywhere," Heather said. "That is effing it, Heather. Chris, give me the effing wimp key I've had with this beach insulting my girl," Owen roared as he drags Heather to get the key only for it to not be needed. "We have a winner. Ledunka and Shuanian take it. That means anybody but Izuku can get voted off," said a dazed Chris as he faints. Owen took the chance to get the wimp key and free himself. Confessional booth. Beep. Mama always said if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. But in this case, I'll make an exception. Heather has to be the biggest bitch I've had the displeasure of knowing. She's the biggest effing asshole in all of Kala fucking Mazu, Owen said. Owen took several deep breaths before speaking again. "So yeah, sorry Mom and Dad, I had to say it. Nobody insult a Waffles loved one and gets away with it," Owen said. "Okay, normally I would blame everyone else for my loss, but I'll admit this one was on me," Heather said. Beep. Later that night. Campfire site. The campers are on the site waiting for their judgment. Lashana was holding her platinum camper with a smile on her face. "You've all casted your votes and made your decision. The camper who does not receive a marshmallow tonight must immediately return to the dock of shame to catch the boat of losers. That means you're out of the contest and you can't come back. Ever. The first marshmallow goes to Izuku," Chris said as he gives the marshmallow to Izuku. Lashana. Next Duncan. 4 campers are left, but only 3 marshmallows. The next marshmallow goes to Heather, Chris said as he gives the marshmallow to Heather. Owen. I'm left with just one marshmallow for the night, and either Cody or Jeff are about to go home. The last marshmallow of the night goes to Cody, Chris said as he gives the last marshmallow to Cody. Cody was shocked. Quick question, are you all effing crazy? Cody shouted. No, we think Jeff was the best one to eliminate. He's a nice guy, and you can beat the power of nice, Duncan reasoned. Cody's eyebrow twitched. All right, but just to let you guys know, you just made harder to eliminate Heather, Cody said as he ate his marshmallow. Well, it's been fun, guys and gals. I'll miss ya, Jeff said. I'll miss you too, big guy. How about one last photo for the scrapbook? Cody said. Hell yeah. Say cheese, Jeff said as he takes a picture. The photo was taken. Jeff leaves for the boat of loser and leaves the island. As Jeff leaves, Duncan and Lashana both realized what they had done. We fucked up, didn't we? Duncan asked. Yeah, we did, homie. Yeah, we did, Lashana said. Later that night, with Ochako. So we're doing a special episode tomorrow then, Ochako said. That's right, Ochako, Courtney said. Thanks for the heads up, Courtney-san, Ochako said. You're welcome, Night Ochako, Courtney said as Ochako nods. Soon Ochako decides to go to bed and dream about the future. We find Chris at the dock of shame ready to make the intro of the week, though this one is a bit special. In today's special episode of Total Drama Island, you've been watching Cody, Heather, Duncan, Lashana, Owen and Izuku make their way to the final 6. Chris said as the faces of the final 6 are shown. Then we see Lashana burst open the camp lounge door to puke and Heather running away from a bear while she was at the washroom. It's been a long 7 weeks, so we decided to give our weary finalists the day off to contemplate how far they have gotten and enjoy all the campgrounds have to offer, Chris said as the bear is now chasing both Heather and Cody while Duncan fished out a leech-covered Owen. Izuku was at his RV playing with Eri and Deku. But what happens to the campers after they walk the dock of shame, board the boat of losers and leave the camp? Where are these rejects living? How are they spending their time? And who do they think deserves to win the $5 million? The losers are about to let it all hang out, and you won't want to miss a word. Coming up on, Chris said as does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. Chris leaves the island as he speeds away in his jet ski. Eri noticed Chris leaving. Nee Papa, Chris is leaving, Eri said. He is. I wonder where he is going, Izuku asked. Eri shrugged. Who the F cares? Chris is gone for the day, Duncan said. You're right, dude. Think we can convince Chef to let us order Chinese? Owen asked. With another shrug, they go to Chef to see if they can get some real food. With Chris. We see Chris arrive at nice beach house with a lot of amenities. Chris smile when he parks his jet ski. Welcome to Casa de McLean. This is beach house I stay in for the duration of the show, Chris said. He then looks at the camera. Originally, this is where we were going to send the losers. But my boss convinced me that sending over 20 super-powered teenagers was a bad idea. But not to worry, my boss accommodated them somewhere else, Chris said as he shuddered. For some reason, he felt like he dodged a nuke. Anyway, as for why we're here, I just need to get something from my crib, Chris said as he goes into the beach house. Inside of Chris's home. Okay then, where did I put that thing? Chris said as he looks around his home. After a few minutes of searching, he found what he was looking at was an old-style lantern with a blue flame lighting the room. Chris picked it up and took a look at it once more. How did my new boss make such a cool lantern? Chris said. He then shrugged as he went back outside. Outside of the beach house. Once was outside, he got on a boat and cast it off into a foggy area. Okay, boss told me to shine the dark light lantern at the direction of the fog, Chris said as he does just that. The dark light lantern shone brightly as it pierced the fog, revealing a 5-star island resort. Well then, welcome to Isla de los Losers, an all-inclusive luxury resort where our campers are sent after being brutally out of the game to lick their wounds and accept their fate as reality show has-beens, Chris said as it shows the eliminated campers. Justin, who has horns, wings, and tail, jumped off the diving board. When he got into the water, Chris spoke again. When we are down to the 2 final competitors, Their fate will be in the hands of these 18 losers, Chris said. We find Noah, Sadie, and Katie at a pool bar sipping drinks as they watch Justin. Ah, he's so cute, Sadie said as she falls down to the pool. Get my shirt wet, why don't you? Noah said. Oh, come on, Noah, it ain't that bad here, let me fix that, Sadie said as she placed her hand on Noah's shirt. In that moment, all of the water was sucked out of Noah's shirt. Sadie placed the water back into the pool. Huh, thanks, I guess, Noah said with a smile as he examined his newly dried shirt. Sadie was about to invite Katie and Noah to the water, but then Sadie felt something bite her. Oh, something bit me, Sadie said. Oh shit, was it a shark? Katie said. Ah, sharks don't swim in chlorinated water, Brainiac, Noah said with an eye roll. Noah's right, besides I think I saw the sharks getting seaweed mud wraps with Beth, Sadie said. They turned to see just that. Beth, who now has antennas, wings, and an abdomen with a stinger size contently along with the sharks. If it wasn't a shark, then what was it? Katie asked. Then Izzy rose up from the water. I think we found the answer, Noah said. Sorry about that, I just had the urge to bite something. Have you ever felt that? Like you just have to sink your teeth into something. May that how sharks feel, huh? Izzy said. The shark heard Izzy and shrugged. Okay, bye, Izzy said as she dives back into the pool. Huh, I guess that's a thing, Katie said. In another area of the island, we find Ezekiel at a jacuzzi just chilling. As you can see, our campers have made themselves comfortable here at our luxury resort, Chris said. We then see Jeff and Bridget making out. Looks like Jeff and Bridget are happy to be reunited, Chris said. Dude, this resort is off the fucking charts, Jeff said as he goes back to kissing Bridget. With Trent and DJ, we find DJ and Trent lounging, relaxing once more. Can you believe this place is right past Bony Island and that shitey campground? Trent said as Bunny jumps on DJ's chest. Now this is what I'm talking about. I can hang here for a while, DJ said as an eagle swoops down. Only for Bunny to open his mouth and an ice beam at Bird, turning it into an ice sculpture, where it shattered into pieces. Both DJ and Trent was shocked at this. Damn, that is the second toughest bunny I've seen, Trent said as DJ nods. Bunny simply takes a nap. With Gwen and Ochako. Ochako and Gwen were by the grill getting some real food as they talked about stuff. So Gwen, how are you and Trent? Ochako asked. Oh, we're doing well, though we kind of hit a small snag, Gwen said. How so? You two seem perfect for one another, Ochako said. Well, Trent and I found out that he has obsessive-compulsive disorder, Gwen said. Oh, is it about the whole 9 thing? Ochako asked despite knowing the answer. Yeah, it is, though I found out why. Due to his grandfather passing away years ago, Trent was depressed and he coped with the number 9. Gwen said. Only for it to turn into OCD, Ochako said. Bingo. Thanks to the on-site therapist, we're learning on how to deal with it, and Trent is thinking of doing a tribute song for his grandpa, Gwen said. Oh, that's so cool. I hope it goes well, Ochako said. Yo, Gwen needs some sunscreen, Trent asked. Sure, Trent, I'm on my way. Ochako, can you bring my food to me? Gwen said as she turned into a bat and flew towards Trent. Ochako chuckled as she served herself some food and some blood bags for Gwen. With Lindsay and Courtney. We find Lindsay and Courtney hanging out by the pool. Okay, I will admit that being a loser has its benefits, Lindsay said. I know, right, this resort is the greatest place I have ever been, Courtney said. Honestly, had I've known about this place, I would have been the one to suggest that I'd be eliminated first, Lindsay said. Same, Courtney said with a grin. With Ochako. What was my experience on the island? Ochako said. Ochako did a cute thinking pose until she spoke again. Well, on the island itself, I would say it was mixed. On one hand, I have made some new friends, enemies, and gained a boyfriend, Ochako said with a smile, until she snarled at a particular memory. On the other hand, I learned a lot of things about my boyfriend, specifically his tormentor Bakugou. I cannot believe this happened to my Izuku, Ochako said as she started to cry. She did for a few minutes, but then stopped. Sorry about it's just. Ochako said before Chris interrupted her. Okay, how about you talk about your time in Isla de los Losers? Chris said as he changed the subject. Oh, okay, I can do that. Well, I know for a fact that Noah and Courtney took the time to, in their words, fill in the gaps of my middle and high school lessons. From heroic history class 101 to learning about work class quirk licenses. Those lessons went into overdrive when Lindsay got here. Ochako said with a shudder. She honestly prefers a pop quiz from Aizawa-sensei than lessons with Lindsay of all people. With Noah. Yeah, I was pretty shocked to be the third camper voted off. Apparently I wasn't bossy, manipulative, or dangerous enough to make it through. But you can't say I wasn't a team player though. Noah said. Yes, they can. You didn't even do anything, Sadie said. Noah was about to counter Sadie, but Katie interjects. Yeah, the only reason that was the case was because Izuku didn't want to give the killer base an easy win, Katie said. Flashback to Dodge Brawl. At least someone is trying today, Heather said as Noah gave a non-enthusiastic cheer. Heather, let it go. Even if we put Noah on the field, he'll most likely lose on purpose, Izuku said as Heather sighs, so she went to trash talk the killer base. Isla de los Losers. Whatever, Noah said. Sadie rolled her eyes as she held Katie's hands and smiled. Anyway, we have so much to tell you since we've been here, Sadie said. Can I say hi to my peeps back home? What's up, Toronto? Katie said as she waves. We're having so much fun here. This resort fucking rocks, Sadie said. Yet Total Drama Island was really hard, Katie said. Flashback to the sucky outdoors. While the SG are getting their food ready, Sadie and Katie are arguing over being lost, with Sadie pointing out that Katie crashed a car at a snack shack. Both of them continued with their search for the killer base. Isla de los Losers. We even survived our first major fight, Katie said. That was so sad, but we totally recovered, Sadie said. Totally, Katie said. And even though that was all like so majorly hard, nothing was as hard as when we were separated, Sadie said. Ah sis, Katie said. Flashback to the sucky outdoors. I'll miss you, Sadie, Katie said as she hugged Sadie. I'll miss you more, Katie, Sadie said as she went to the boat of losers. I'll see you soon, sis, Katie said as the boat left. Isla de los Losers. With Courtney. Hey, I didn't really get a lot from this experience, considering I was kicked off in the first episode. It sucked, but hey, I'll just enter the next one and try harder, Courtney said with a shrug. Huh, I thought you'd be mad or something, Chris said. Nah, that whole thing was completely my fault, Courtney said. Flashback to of leaders and dives. Chris, I have a medical condition, Courtney said as Chris rolled his eyes. Okay, but just to let you know, if you chicken out, your team might lose and they'll hate you, Chris said. It's a risk I'm willing to take. Besides, I've seen the other team, they won't jump, Courtney arrogantly said. Pride cometh before the fall, Chris thought as he took out a hat in the form of a chicken. Okay, but you now have to take the chicken path down and wear this hat for the rest of the day, Chris said as he makes Courtney wear the chicken hat and points towards an escalator to which Courtney used it to go down. Isla de los Losers. With Noah. Did I get anything out of this experience? In short, no. It was completely uneventful, Noah said. Izzy came out of the water and somehow harpooned a fish. He kissed a guy, Izzy said. Noah tried to deny it, only for Trent to remind him that it was on the second episode. No comment, Noah said. It was then that an annoyed Lindsay appeared. God damn it all, Lindsay said. Yo, what's wrong, Lindsay? Trent asked. Oh, nothing, except that my sister sent me a letter saying that there's a picture of me on Star Stalker magazine, Lindsay said as she shows said magazine. How well you know what that means, Noah said. Yeah, unless this show gets more seasons, I've officially peaked. I'm assuming that they'll think I'll do something stupid to be on the cover, Lindsay said. How stupid we're talking about, Trent said. At best a boob job, at worst an eating disorder, Lindsay said. Ouch, Trent said. With Ochako. So Ochako, if you can say something to one of the 6 remaining campers, what would it be? Chris asked. I'd tell Izuku to never give and to go beyond plus ultra and that I miss him. Ochako said as she blushes. Flashback to no pain, no gain. Izuku, Ochako calmly said. Yes, Ochako, Izuku said. You are the smartest, dumbest, hardworking boy I have ever met. When I first saw you, I thought you just this oddball of a boy, Ochako said. Izuku couldn't help but blush at that as he remembered the first time he met Ochako. In fact, now thinking about it, he never did talk to her. But as I got to know you, the kind, earnest, generous boy, no man that graced the tiny blue marble we call home, Ochako said. Izuku's blush became even brighter as the intern stopped his quirk. As I heard about your dreams and goals in life, I thought back then that I wouldn't distract from your dreams. If I had a time travel quirk rather than zero gravity, I would have slapped my past self silly for spouting such nonsense, Ochako said. Ochako, Izuku thought. I've seen you at your bravest and you're foolish, Ochako said. Izuku remembers the fight against Shoto and his clash with Stain. I've seen you be both a guiding light and a pillar of strength, Ochako said. Izuku remembers the Usji and his fight against Muscular. I've seen you being the greatest friend and the greatest father to Iri and Koda, Ochako said. Izuku remembers his class and the two kids he befriended. Ochako's look became somber. I've also seen you at your lowest, Ochako said. Izuku knows that she meant phobia factor, but he can't help but remembers the dark times he had suffered. His quirkless diagnosis, his donor Hisashi leaving him, All Might saying no and Bakugou telling to kill himself. Izuku beings to tear up. But I also want you to remember the greatest moments, Ochako said as she smiles. Getting into UA, receiving one for all, hearing All Might saying he can be a hero, getting his provisional license and finally meeting the love of his life. Acha-chan, I want to add this moment as well. Uraraka Ochako, will you be my girlfriend? Izuku said, not asked said. Kiss me, a fool, Ochako said as Izuku did just that. The both of them were ignorant of the many cheers the other campers gave, because it was just them. Isla de los Losers. I hope that he's okay, Ochako said. I know he is, though I just had a thought. What's your opinion on polycules? Izzy asked. But Ochako didn't give answer. With Chris. And there you have it. Stay tuned to hear the answer to the question everyone wants to know. What do the losers think of the final 6? And will they vote to win? These answers and more coming up. Chris said. And cut, Daniel said as the feed was cut. Okay, now we need the losers' opinions of the final 6, Chris said. Sometime later. We find Chris near the buffet. Okay, you've seen how the losers are spending their time. Now it's time what they think of the final 6, Chris said. Then Eva pops up a la jump scare. Heather can kiss my ass. She's a cum-sucking, backstabbing bitch. And I'm gonna enjoy watching her go down, Eva said as she shows her shark-like teeth. Wow, tell us how you really feel, Chris said. I just did, Eva said. Oh well, in that case that was lame, Chris said. Eva would have been pissed if she didn't remember what Lindsay said. Heather. You know what, that's fair, Eva said. Soon everyone told Chris about the 5 of the final 6. They hated Heather. Duncan was a mixed bag of bad guy and good guy. The bad guy part was his bullying and pranks. The good guy part was when he gave Iri the Chuck Norris bunny decoru. Owen is a good guy and an animal. They believed that Cody wouldn't last long. No bad thing was said about Lashana. Once they got to Izuku, however. With Courtney. Izuku, well, at first, I thought that he was a nervous wreck and is still kind of one, but he's a strong competitor, Courtney said. With Tyler. Izuku, meh, I didn't know him well, but I can say that he is tough, Tyler said. With Noah. Midoriya, well, I will say this. He has some interesting ideas on how to use my quirk, Noah said as he turns a plastic cup into gold. Flashback 2 of leaders and dives. Izuku was unpacking his stuff, and some of that stuff were several new notebooks ready to be filled out. All called contestants Quirk Heroics for the future Vol 20 and placed them under his bottom bunk. Yo Shrimpy, what that you got there? Duncan asked. Just some notebooks for my hobby, Izuku nervously said. Hobby? Well, out with it, Duncan said. Analyzing quirks, Izuku said as Noah listened in. You have an example of one? Noah asked. I do hear, though this on in particular is mostly guesswork, Izuku said as he gave Noah the old notebook. Noah gives it a look and was amazed by Izuku's work, as was Duncan. Damn, little man, I know a few people that would pay top dollar for this notebook, a good 20 to 30 grand to be exact, Duncan said with a grin. Really, dude, I'd say you're stupid in thinking that, but since it's true, I can't blame ya, Noah said. You don't think it's creepy? Izuku said. Not really. In fact, if you show this and your other notebooks to places like Stanford or Harvard, you'd not only get a master's degree, but a doctorate in quirk analysis, Noah said. Oh, come on, it can't be that good, Izuku said as Noah raised an eyebrow. Actually, I was being serious. Show this to any major Ivy League university and you'll get both your degree and doctorate, Noah said as he was actually being serious. Really, thank you, Noah-san, Izuku as he started to tear up. You don't have many friends, do you? Duncan asked. Not counting the friends I made in UA, I didn't have that many since I was quirkless the majority of my life, Izuku said. Isla de los Losers. With Justin. Izuku? What's more to say about him? Well, besides Ochako having to get used to the idea of a ploicule, Justin said as he polishes his horns. Flashback 2 of leaders and dives. I don't believe it, a cinnamon rollies Maximus, Justin said as he went wide-eyed. Confessional room. Beep. I live to see a cinnamon rollies Maximus, the ultimate combination of cute and sexy. My beloved mother told me that they only appear once every 1,000 generations. God, what a time to be alive. Well, at least he won't have to worry about getting laid because a cinnamon rollies Maximus usually have harems of 5 to 8 girls, Justin happily said. Isla de los Losers. With Sadie and Katie. Oh my gosh, when we saw that hot body, I am like, wow, he is hot, Sadie said. I know, right? Ochako is SSS so lucky, Katie said. With Beth. Well, I might be a bit biased since he's the guy who dragged me back to Bony Island, Beth said. Flashback to Paintball Deer Hunter. We find Izuku, Ochako, and Beth on a boat headed for Bony Island to put back the tiki idol that Beth found. Beth had originally thought about breaking the tiki and hiding it in the septic tank, but the illegal heroes in training stopped that. Now the three of them landed on Bony Island. Ochako, follow Beth while I prepare the canoe, Izuku said as Ochako nods. Ochako and Beth left to leave the tiki. After a few minutes they came back one tiki lighter and what felt like a weight lifted from their shoulders. They leave hoping that they would never come back. Isla de los Losers. With Ezekiel. Not much to say about him, but I'm more afraid of his girl more so than him, Ezekiel said. With Trent and Gwen. Izuku is an awesome friend, he gave me some tips on my quirk as well, Trent said with a smile. I noticed that he was a bit nervous at first when he heard about my quirk, but after seeing Toga I kind of understand. Still a good kid though, Gwen said as she remembers that Izuku is 15. With Bryjet and Jeff. Oh yeah, I see Izuku as my bud and totally want him to win if he can, Jeff said with a grin. Yup, I would definitely chose him for the 5 million, Bridget said. With Harold. Honestly, it's a tough call between Owen and Izuku, but if I had to pick one it would be Izuku, Harold said. With Eva. It's Izuku, nuff said, Eva said as she lifted weights. With Lindsay. I may be biased for wanting my boyfriend to win, but Izuku has the better chances due to his hero training, Lindsay said. With DJ. Izuku. Yeah, he'll win, he's the kindest soul ever, especially on how he's raising Eri, DJ said as Bunny nods. With Izzy. I like the guy, and he deserves the win, but I'd still prefer Owen to win, Izzy said as she barbecues coconuts. With Ochako. Honestly, do I need to say more about my boyfriend? Ochako said. Chris and Daniel looked at one another. Fair enough, Ochako, Chris said. Daniel nods in agreement. Later that night. Everyone was gathered by the pool waiting for Chris. It was silent until DJ broke it. So who do you guys want to win if you could vote right now? DJ asked. Soon a discussion regarding the final 6 and who should win was born. The general consensus is that anybody but Heather should win the $5 million Osid. Unexpectedly, Chris appeared in a puff of pink smoke. Ha ha, okay losers, it is time for the most unexpected twist of all time. Tonight you will be voting off the next camper off Total Drama Island. Chris said. No way. Gwen said with a shit-eating grin, knowing that she will pick Heather. Oh yes way. Here's how it's gonna work. There are no marshmallows. I'm gonna ask you one by one who you would like to see join you here tonight at Isla de los Losers. Katie and Sadie, since you two share a brain, I'll ask you both. Who would you like to vote for? Chris said. Oh, I miss Lashana the most, Sadie said. Oh, it would be so much fun to have her here, definitely Lashana, Katie said. Ochako and Gwen's eyes went wide as she tried to stop them, but it was already too late. Soon everybody was voting for Lashana when they were meant to say Heather. Even a nearby parrot was saying Lashana. In the end, Lashana was picked up from the island and brought to Isla de los Losers. And with that, we are down to 5. Tune in next week to see the dramatic almost conclusion of Total Drama Island. Chris said as he leaves. Ugh, this what I get for listening to Duncan, Lashana said as she goes to find her room. We find Chris at the dock of shame, ready to make the intro of the week. Last time on Total Drama Island. In a special episode, we visited the kicked-off campers at their island resort of rejects, Isla de los Losers. We learned that Bridget and Jeff are still going strong. Gwen and Trent are learning how to deal with OCD. Katie and Sadie still share a brain and Ochako still misses her beau. In a shocking twist, we let the losers vote off one of the final 6 campers, and in an even shocking twist, it was Lashana who found herself in Loserville Population 19. Chris said. Various scenes of last week's episode are shown. Who will be voted off this week? Most dramatic campfire ceremony yet. Find out tonight on. Chris said as he does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. It was a dark and stormy day in Camp Wawanakwa. Chris is standing on the dock of shame while holding an umbrella ready to start today's episode. Welcome back to Total Drama Island. This week we've prepared a bizarre episode full of surprises. For instance, take this weather. Rain is not an easy thing to control, let me tell ya. But we figured that the 5 remaining campers were getting off way too easy. Chris said with a smile on his face. Yeah, especially a certain illegal hero in training, Daniel said. Oh yeah, definitely. So we pull some strings and voila, Chris said as he and Daniel were struck by lightning. Oh, Daniel said. Pain effing sucks, Chris said. With the campers. We see the campers just sitting around waiting for the rain to stop. Duncan was whittling a stick. Heather was doing her nails. Owen went to the confessional. Cody was sleeping and Izuku was in the cabin. This time since his mom took both Iri and the RV for some grandma-granddaughter bonding time. That's when Chris speaks up. Listen up campers, one of the most grueling challenges of any summer camp experience is the dreaded rain day, where all activities with even the remotest of possibility of fun are cancelled in favor of the craft tent. The forecast of tomorrow is rain, rain and more followed by more rain. See you all in the craft tent tomorrow at 07:00 hours, Chris said. Heather smirked at Duncan while he gave a pissed-off look. Hey, has anyone seen Owen? Duncan said. I think he went to the confessional, Izuku said. In this weather? Duncan asked with a raised eyebrow. Confessional booth. Beep. Woohoo. Final 5 baby, yeah. You know I like 3 of the contestants except for one for obvious reasons. I really don't think I need to repeat myself, Owen said. Beep. The campers look at the rain and decide to go back into the cabins and get some shut-eye. However, when they did, the campgrounds flooded and took the cabins and confessional with them. The next morning, it was a new day at Camp Wawanakwa as Chef was ringing a bell to signal the campers for breakfast. Oddly enough, the campers didn't come. Then Chris appeared in his ATV with Eri wearing a park ranger's hat. Hey Chef, you seen the campers? Chris said as Chef says no. Eri tugs on Chris's sleeve then points to the missing cabins. Ah, what the fuck happened? Chris shouted. Maybe the rain swept them last night, Chef said. We need to find Papa, Eri said as she tears up. Chris's eyes went wide as seeing a sad Eri was bad for ratings, and if Eri cried it was bye-bye fame and hello to Loserville for Chris. Daniel, find those campers before Eri cries, Chris urgently said. On it, Chris, Daniel said as he begins his search. With the campers. Heather was sleeping peacefully until she fell out of the bed and into the water. Gah, what the F, Heather said. Duncan comes out of the cabin only to land on the water. Cody hears the commotion and sees the water. Anybody know where this water came from? Cody asked. How about you ask the leeches? Heather said as she shows her arm was full of leeches. She shakes them off in a panic. Duncan was about to say something until he remembers. Normally I would say something funny, but then I remember where we are, Duncan said as a shark fin swam by. Duncan and Heather jumped out of the water and got on the cabin. Izuku gets out of the cabin and sees what's going on. Guys, we should probably go ashore, Izuku said as everyone nods. Anybody seen the confessional? Cody asked. With Owen. Owen came out of the confessional when he remembered that he didn't eat breakfast. But once he came out and saw the water, he went back in. With the others. The cabin was now ashore. As everyone leaves, they inspect the island. Okay, is anybody else creeped out about this? Cody said. Not really, for all we know we're still in Wawanakwa Island, just on the other side, Izuku said. I have to agree with the illegal hero wannabe. This screams cheesy production set with fake props, Heather said as she kicks a rock only to injure her foot. So do I. Besides, I'm pretty sure that they'll send a search party, Duncan said. Confessional booth. Beep. Just to set the record straight. My sets are not cheesy. I lost 3 interns moving those rocks into place. As for the search party, I'm sure Daniel can find them, Chris said. Beep. With Daniel. Daniel was looking for the campers as to not make Eri cry, though he was having a hard time at it. Ugh, how long does it take to find 5 campers? Daniel said to himself. Excuse me, a female voice said. Yes, can I help you? Daniel said as he started to blush. In front of him is a rather short but beautiful young woman with short black hair and dark eyes. She wearing a long green dress and brown boots, as well as a shawl with white and pink patterns on it around her. Oh, hi, I'm Daniel, Daniel said as he introduced himself. Oh, hello, Daniel. I'm Isara Gunther. The now named Isara said. It's nice to meet you, Isara. I got to ask, but what are you doing here? Daniel asked. Oh, I'm helping my brother Welkin along with his girlfriend Alicia to find a new species of goose that is found here. He believes it's descended from a quirked goose ancestor, Isara explained as she shows him a photo of the goose. Despite Isara being hot as hell, he recognized the goose from the photo Isara gave him. Oh hell, I know what goss that is. That's a Stymphalian Canadian geese. What the hell is one doing out of Bony Island? Daniel said. Bony Island? Wait, is this Wawanakwa Island? A male voice said. Welkin, Alicia, you're here, Isara said. Welkin is a tall young man in his early 20s with messy brown hair and gray eyes. He is also dressed like a park ranger. Alicia is a young woman of average height with long, brown hair tied into 2 pigtails. She wears a red bandana on her head, a long blue dress with brown boots and an apron. Well, hope you find the winged menace. Now I got to find some lost campers, Daniel said only to hear an unholy screech. The quartet looked up and saw the roided-up goose carrying Duncan, Izuku, and Cody. Daniel looks at his phone and facepalms. 10 minutes. That has to be a record somewhere, Daniel said in a flat tone. 10 minutes earlier. Cody and Duncan were arguing on whether or not that should build a raft or stay put. Heather had enough and basically told the boys that she was going for a walk. Guys, I'm pretty sure that we're just on the other side of the island. I say we follow Heather and find Owen, all right, Izuku said. Oh right, we need to find the guy, Duncan said. Say, Cody, do you have a GPS on your pocket? Izuku said, remembering that his pants contained a pocket dimension. Cody facepalmed as he remembers that he indeed has one. Upon taking it out and turning it on, they were indeed still on the island. Cody awkwardly chuckled. Confessional booth. Beep. Okay, I'll admit that was not my best moment, Cody said with a blush. Beep. With Heather. Heather smiled as she sees the treehouse. After removing the fake skeleton, she made herself at home. Not bad beats sleeping on the beach, Heather said as she lays on one of the beds. With Owen. Owen was in the confessional booth panicking and thinking about donuts until he heard a thump. Is that Sand, sweet mama in a sidecar going 90. I'm back at camp, Owen said as he runs along the beach, only to find a T-Rex skeleton. After that he runs back to the confessional booth in fear. This day effing sucks, Owen said. Confessional booth. Beep. The T-Rex skull was my idea. Did you see the look on his face? That was worth every intern, Chris said. Beep. I've lost a lot of fellow interns thanks to that skull. Rest in peace, fellow interns, Daniel said as he clapped his hands in prayer. Beep. With Heather. After a quick power nap, Heather went outside and saw that the view was nice. Hey, you three, if you're done arguing, I found a place to stay, Heather said as the guys went there. Izuku saw the treehouse, but the T-Rex bones as well. Had dinosaur bones, Izuku said. You know, if it weren't for the nerd's GPS, we would have been spooked, Duncan said. My question is, where did they come from? Is that the confessional booth? Cody said. Soon they see the confessional booth. With Owen. Help, I'm all alone, I'm gonna die, Owen said as he leaves the confessional booth. After laying in the sand, he sees something that makes him smile. Hey, are those coconut trees? Owen said. Confessional booth. Beep. Will someone please explain to me why there are palm trees and coconuts up here? We're in northern Ontario, Chef said. There were leftover props from the Big Tastic Park shoot, Chris said. You mean the Jurassic Park ripoff that the Spielberg family sued to oblivion, Chef said. Yeah, we were on a budget, Chris said. How? You own all of the islands and the lake for fuck's sakes, Chef said. Paying off the interns' families is not cheap, Chris said. Okay, fair enough, Chef said. Beep. With Owen. We that Owen ate of the coconuts and lets out a loud burp. It's been a grueling 9 minutes of isolation, where a human mind, quirked or otherwise, is ripe for cracking. You know what I'm talking about, right, Mr. Coconut? Owen said as he spoke to a coconut. Unknown to Owen, he was being watched. Should we tell the big guy that we're right here? Cody said, worried about Owen's sanity. Nah, I say we wait 15 minutes, then we tell him. As for me, I'm gonna get some food, Duncan said as he leaves to get food. I'll go with you, Izuku said. Me, what the hell? Heather, hold this until we get back, Cody said as he gives the GPS to Heather. Confessional booth. Beep. I will admit I was tempted by the idea of leaving them behind and winning, but I'm pretty it would screw me over in the long run, Heather said. Beep. With Owen. We see Owen marking the wall of the outhouse with another red mark. Also, Owen somehow grew a full-grown beard in the span of 2 minutes. 11 minutes of isolation and Mr. Coconut and I have decided to live in the outhouse, where it's safe, Owen said as an arrow pierces Mr. Coconut. Ah, headhunters, Owen shouted in a panic as Owen and Mr. Coconut go back into the outhouse. Duncan, who had fired the arrow, cringed at what he did. Oh man, yeah, make that 30 minutes, Duncan said. He then heard the rustling of a bush. He pulls out a knife out of his pocket and dives in to kill his prey. The prey that he killed were just fruit, mostly pineapples, mangoes, bananas, and coconuts. One fruit salad coming up, Duncan said as he rubbed his hands together. Soon, however, he spots something he likes. That something was a giant egg. Oh hell yeah, and an Uber omelet on the side, Duncan said as he steals the egg. However, he doesn't see the shadow flying overhead. Back at the cabin, Izuku and Cody came back with some food, while Duncan having the biggest haul. Duncan also notices Heather eating some chocolate. Hey Heather, where'd you get that? Duncan asked. Owen's secret stash, Heather said. Of course you did. Mind giving some to us? Duncan said. Nope, Heather said as ate the chocolate bar. Should have seen that one coming, Duncan said with a shrug. Roar. Okay, either that's Chris messing with us or some freak from Bony Island escaped from here, Cody said. I hope it's the former, Izuku said, hoping that would be the case. I wonder how Owen is holding up, Cody said. With Owen. Don't worry, Mr. Coconut, you soft flaky marrow is safe with me, Owen said. Roar. With Chris. As it turns out, it was indeed the case. Chris, Chef, Inko, and Ere, who is wearing a miner's hat, all sat around the table. Chef was blowing a conch shell. Brunch is served, Chef said. Ah, brunch, such a civilized meal, don't you think? You've already digested your brekkie, but you're not quite ready for lunch, Chris said. I never thought I would have a brunch. I always thought that was a rich person or celebrity thing, Inko said. May you're not wrong. Ooh, hollandaise, you've outdone yourself, Chef, Chris said as he tasted and loved the hollandaise. I hope Danny finds Papa soon, Erie said. I hope so too, Erie, I hope so too, Chris said as Chef blows the conch shell once. With the campers. The campers are about to eat the food that Duncan brought them. Okay, one Uber omelet coming right up, Duncan said with a grin. Duncan, I've been meaning to ask, but where did you get that egg? Izuku said. Oh yeah, I found it in some random nest, Duncan said. Then they hear a screech of a Stymphalian Canadian goose. The three boys looked at the egg and then at the bird. Ah shit, Duncan said as the SCG grabbed the egg, taking Duncan along for the ride and possibly eat him as well. Cody decides to play the hero and uses it to tie the goose's leg, only to remember that he has weak nerd arms. I should have given this to Izuku, Cody said as he was pulled up as well. Cody, Duncan, Izuku said as he garbs Cody's legs only to get pulled up as well. Well, that happened, Heather said. Present time. Daniel and his group saw this happening and knew what to do. Okay, Mr. Gunther, as this is a byproduct of a quirked animal that's endangering lives, I have but to put down it, Daniel said. Welkin sighs as he knows this too well. Just be gentle with her, all right. Isara, make him a bow, Welkin said. Yes, brother, Isara said as she did just that by using her quirk. Daniel takes the bow and takes aim. Once he gets a clear shot, he fires the arrow and lands a clean hit, killing the quirked animal, along with causing the three campers to fall. Ah. Oops, Daniel said. Might as well check the body, Welkin said sadly. With the boys. The three boys got up and saw the SCG, which is now dead. Huh, I wonder what their meat tastes like, Duncan asked. You'll have to keep wondering. Game Warden Welkin Gunther, Welkin said. I'm gonna go on a limb that you're here the goose and the egg, Duncan asked as Welkin nodded. That's right, thankfully someone you guys know came to get you, Welkin said. Daniel soon pops up along with Isara and Alicia. Guys, thank the Lord you're okay. Izuku, we got trouble, Erie's about to cry, Daniel said. What? Don't worry, Eri, Papa is coming, Izuku said as he rushed towards the camp. Ah, that happened, Cody said. With Heather. Heather was defending herself from a tribal-garbed Owen. He only recognized her once she tossed a Malamar at him. Owen, what the flying F? Heather shouted as Owen hugged her. He then started muttering about mirages and the like, along with ask if she was real. It was then that Daniel and the others came out of the woods. Hey Heather, Owen, you guys here? Daniel asked. Yeah, we are. What took you so long? Heather said. Daniel rolled his eyes at that. Either way, I'm here to take you guys back. Also, what's with the fake beard, Owen? Daniel asked. Oh, this unnatural hair growth has been a thing in my family long before quirks became a thing. Our family barber is a very rich person, Owen said. Confessional booth. Beep. Wait, that was a thing since before quirk? Izuku said with wide eyes. Beep. Back at camp. Eri was waiting for her papa to come back. She was a bit sad about, but she wanted her papa. Then she heard a familiar voice. Eri in the eye, Izuku said as he glomped his daughter. Papa, you're back, Eri said with a smile. Ah, that's adorable, and you're the first one back. When you're finished, bring the campers to the campfire tonight, Chris said as he sees the father and daughter pair hug one another. So effing adorable and hello ratings, Chris thought. The rest of the campers and the others arrive as well. Oh, you're back as well. Glad to see you guys are still alive. Chef can get you some food. Also see you at the campfire, Chris said. Campfire site. We find the campers at the campfire site with Cody holding the graham cracker of disappointment and Owen the platinum camper. Well, it's been a grueling day, campers. Frankly, I along with Chef, Eri, and Inko are worn out. I hope you've learned 3 valuable lessons. First, always make sure your cabins are securely fastened to the ground. Second, the every camper for themselves idea sucks, or at least would have sucked if you at least did. That's what I would have said if you guys did it. But hey, 5 heads are always better than 1. Chris said. Don't you mean 6? Owen said as he holds up Mr. Coconut. Chris was a bit annoyed at the interruption but continues. And finally, don't make Eri cry. Now on with another dramatic marshmallow elimination ceremony. Chris said as he holds a plate with 5 marshmallows. Duncan with wide eyes as he saw this. Wait a fucking minute, there are 5 marshmallows. That's 1 for each of us. Duncan said. Excellent observation, dude. Heather, Duncan, Cody, Owen, and Izuku. Chris said as he passed the marshmallows. Once Owen got his marshmallow, he realized what that meant. Oh no, you don't mean, Owen said. Yep, it's time for Mr. Coconut to. Chris started to say until his phone rang. Chris picks up the phone and answers. Hello? Oh boss man, how you doing? Huh, wait, wah, for real? It's a effing coconut. A bonus and raise for me and Chef. I'll take it. Chris said. Ah, what happened, Chris? Izuku asked. My boss called. Turns out Mr. Coconut turned into an instant fan favorite, so he gets to stay. Chris said. Ha, how much did that boss of yours offer to keep a coconut of all things? Heather snarked. Chris just wrote on a piece of paper and showed it to Heather. Her eyes went wide as she saw how many zeros there were. That's a lot of zeros, Heather said with a gulp. Any who enjoy what may be your last week, campers, Chris said as he leaves. Well, that happened, Cody said. I think we should just forget about this day. What do you think? Izuku asked. The other campers nodded in agreement. With that, they went back to their cabins and went to bed. With Daniel. Daniel was grinning like a ninny as he adds a new contact on his phone. Isaraji. Awesome, this is just awesome. Ever since I got hired, my life has turned around and I love it. Daniel said as he sent a text to Isara. She responded, and thus the texted the night away. Today on this episode, we find ourselves at the kitchen of the camp lounge to see not Chris but Chef and Eri, who was wearing a firefighter helmet, doing the intro. Last week on Total Drama Island, Chef said. We saw Papa and the other campers get swept away by some stupid rain, Eri said with a pout. Which got them stranded on a deserted island, Chef said. But it only the other side of it. Also, Owen went a little cuckoo for coconuts and made a friend out of one, Eri said as she twirled her finger in a spinning motion. The delinquent and the hero boy managed to convince the nerdy Casanova wannabe to stay put after finding out he had a GPS in his pocket. Hey, dumbass, Chef said with a chuckle. Mr. Daney was looking for Papa and the other where he found a park ranger along with his girlfriend and his sister, Eri said. Though I think he was more interested in the sister? Heh heh, Chef said with chuckle. Eri did the same. Soon Mr. Daney found Papa and brought them back to camp, where Chris was about to kick the coconut off the island forever, Eri said. Only for our boss deny that order and keep the damn thing. I mean, how the flying fuck did a coconut turn into a fan favorite? Chef said. After a big bribe, Eri said. Chef chuckled. She meant bribe. By the way, it's Eri and I doing the recap. You got a problem with that? Chef said as he holds out a butcher's knife. Soon scenes of the last episode played out. I don't think so since I am here. Eri beamed as she does the all-might catchphrase. Oh right, anywho. Chris is off hosting a frou-frou reward show. Eri and I are filling in as hosts. I'm not happy about, but Eri is, Chef said. So sit back, relax and watch tonight's episode of, Eri said as both she and Chef do the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. It was another beautiful sunrise on Camp Wawanakwa. All 5 campers are asleep. It was only when a helicopter flew by that woke them up. Then saw Chef and Eri. The campers were wondering where Chris was, and they were when they hear Chef speak. Everyone shut the F up, how you got here is not your concern, Chef shouted. What happened to Chris? Cody asked. None of your goddamn business what happened to Chris. We're in charge now, Chef said as he gestured towards himself and Eri. Yeah, and you're not gonna like it, Eri, who was wearing a drill sergeant hat, said. That's right, little unicorn. Now then, your mission is to find your way out of the forest or die trying, Chef said as he got into Owen's face. You can't be serious, we will die, Heather said. Confessional booth. Beep. I think Eri has been spending too much time with Chef. Just last week I saw her suplex a fully grown man, Izuku said. Izuku then thought about a bit more. Though I'm pretty sure Ochako would be proud of her, Izuku said. Beep. With the campers. Here's how it works, each of you will try to get to the northern base camp. Take these bags, they have everything you'll need to do so. The first camper to tag the camp totem pole wins and gets invincibility. Oh, one last thing, today is a double elimination, Chef said as he explained the rules. The campers gasped at this. Oh, make sure you set up camp before the Sasquatch gets you, Eri said. That's right, and nightfall is gonna be a bitch without a pair of night vision goggles, Chef said as he holds up a pair of goggles and laughs. Duncan then did something unexpected, begging him not to send them into the forest. Chef pushed Duncan off of him. He didn't notice Duncan smirking. Confessional booth. Beep. Duncan is a lot of things, but he isn't a chicken. He's up to something and I can tell, and fuck the night vision goggles. That sly motherfucker, Heather said. Way too fucking easy, Duncan said as he holds up the night vision goggles. Beep. At the forest. Oh, and like Eri said, beware of Sasquatch, he's one mean motherfucker, Chef said as he and Eri climb the rope ladder. Good luck everyone, Eri said as she waves. And try not to die, Chef said. Soon the helicopter leaves, leaving the campers behind. This isn't legal, you can't do this, Heather said. Hey Peaches, file it with the network lawyers, Duncan said as he garbs both Owen and Izuku. Where do they're going, they can't survive out there, it's suicide, Heather said as she notices that Cody is not there. Heather growls at this insult. Oh, for F's sakes, Heather shouts. With Izuku, Duncan and Owen. The three boys are running through the woods and Owen, gasping for breath, asked where they were going. Okay, we're far away from Heather and Cody, that will psych them out. Now then, Izuku, Owen, open your bags, let's see what we got, Duncan said. With that, the three of them opened their bags and saw various fallout, mostly camping supplies. Okay, maps, binoculars, bug spray, sleeping bags, compasses, and a flare gun, Izuku said. Yup, all of that is good except for one thing is missing, Owen said. And that is? Duncan said despite knowing the answer. Food, Owen shouted to the heavens. Don't worry, Owen, we can get through this thanks to these babies, Duncan said as he shows them the night vision goggles. You stole those from Chef. Sweet, Owen said. Now your begging makes a lot more sense, Duncan, Izuku said. What can I say, I'm a hardened criminal. With these babies we can see clear as day, Duncan said with a grin. Just make that you don. Izuku was about to say, only for Owen to scream in pain. Ah, my eyes, Owen shouted in pain. Wear them during the day, Izuku said as he cringes. Ooh off. Anyway, we should head north. The sun rose from the east, so that means camp is that way, Duncan said. I'm sure camp is that way, Owen said as he read the map. Owen, you have the map upside down, Izuku said. Owen turned the map to the right position to find out that Duncan is right. Oh, hey, sorry. Let's go, guys, Owen said. With Heather. Ugh, F those assholes, I hope they die by a bear or that Sasquatch thing. Maybe I should follow the river, Heather said as she followed the river. She then remembered something. No way, I still have that thing, Heather said. With a smile on her face, she checks her pockets and found what she was looking for, Cody's GPS. Perfect, Heather said as she activated the device. And like she thought, it showed her where north is. Ha, invincibility, thy name is Heather Sungwahan, Heather said with a grin. She then had a thought. I wonder what that asshole and Eri are doing, Heather said. With Chef and Eri. Chef and Eri were at the docks while Chef was reading a French dictionary to Eri. Okay, you can do it, Eri. Just say my name is Eri in French, Chef said. Hi, Chef-san. Je m'appelle Eri, Eri said. Very good, Eri. I'll be sure to make you apple fritters and pie, Chef said. Yay, Eri said in cheer. With Cody. Cody was a bit lost, but he managed to find his path thanks to the compass and map he had. Okay, this seems okay. All I have to do is just to head north and win, Cody said. Would be a hell of a lot easier if I still had me GPS, Cody thought. He then heard a growl. Cody turned around and saw that it was the Sasquatchanaqua. Cody did the only thing he could do, run like while screaming. He did just that as the Sasquatchanaqua gave chase. With Chef. Chef was rummaging around the cabins as he was looking for certain items, which were one of Izuku's notebooks, Heather's facial cream, Owen's snacks, Duncan's pocket knife, and Cody's soda. Nice, Chef said as he gets out of the cabins. With the Izuku, Duncan, and Owen. Okay, then we should probably make it by nightfall at this pace, Duncan said. Awesome, I could eat, Owen said. I hope Iri is all right, Izuku said. I'm sure she's fine, Daddy-o, Duncan said as both he and Owen chuckled. With Iri, we see Iri and Chef having a tea party with the apple desserts that Chef made. Je passe un merveilleux hatch, tes bonbons sont spectaculaires, Iri said in perfect French. Bien sûr, Dame Licorne, mon objectif est de plaire, Chef said. The both of them ate their snacks with gusto. With Heather. Damn it, I'll have to wait until tomorrow morning to get back, Heather said as she noticed the sun going down. She made camp and ate some energy bars before going to sleep. Confessional booth. Beep. Ugh, this challenge sucks. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope Chris comes back soon, Heather said. Beep. With the boys. The boys were setting up camp as Cody somehow caught up with them. He also told them about Heather and his encounter with the Sasquatchanaqua. Ah shit, I completely forgot about your GPS, Duncan said with a facepalm. I think we should be more worried about the Sasquatchanaqua guys, Izuku said. Tusk, Super Dork is right, maybe if we leave it alone, it will leave us alone, hopefully, Duncan said. Soon, however, they hear eerie sounds that made sleep impossible. With Chef and Irin. Chef and Iri were practicing their instruments. Chef was playing the harp and singing. Iri, on the other hand, was playing an ocarina. Soon a fly got into Chef's throat, but soon he coughed it out and continued playing. On the next morning. It was the next morning and the boys were waking up, though they didn't have much sleep. Ugh, F man, Duncan said as he got up. Well, that was a shit sleep, Cody crankily said. I know, but we're almost done, Izuku said. Okay, that sucked, I won, Owen started to say until he smelled something. Owen, Izuku said. You guys smell that? Owen asked. Smell what? Cody said. It's sweet, cinnamony, and appley? Oh wait, I almost got it. Oh yes, sticky buns and apple cinnamon muffins, Owen said as he ran towards the food. Owen, if you touch Iri's muffins, I will yeet you to space, you hear me? Izuku shouted as he went after Owen. The other two follow pursuit. With Chef and Iri. It was at that moment Chef was taking out the sticky buns and apple cinnamon muffins out of the oven. That's some oven loving, Chef said. Are my muffins ready, Chef? Iri asked. That they are, Iri, now eat up while I find a place to relax, Chef said as he placed a plate of muffins, an extra sticky bun, and a tall glass of milk for Iri. With Heather. Heather woke up ready to finish the challenge when she caught a smell in the air. Hold up sticky buns and apple cinnamon muffins. Oh shit, that means Owen knows where the base is at, Heather said as she raced towards the camp. At the campsite. Chef was just about to enjoy his sticky bun when he heard a familiar voice. Yes, I made it, Heather said. Ah shit. Well, fun's over, Chef said. Heather was racing towards the totem pole when Owen came barreling in, but he ignored the pole and went for the sticky buns, eating them all. Heather touched the totem pole. Duncan was distraught when he saw that Owen sacrificed invincibility for sticky buns. I'm gonna kill the fucker who said we should have eliminated Jeff instead of, oh wait, that fucker was me. God effing damn it. Duncan said as he remembers that he was the one that asked Lashana's help in eliminating Jeff. Those bun were mine. I was looking forward to those. Alright, game is over and Heather wins invincibility. See you shitheads at the campfire site. Chef angrily said as he felt a tug. Chef turns to see Eri offering a muffin to Chef. Ah merci Eri, Chef said as he pats the unicorn's head. Campfire site. This was supposed to be my day. Had all planned. I was gonna eat my sticky buns, relax with one of Heather's facials, finish reading Izuku's latest hero notebook, and clean my toenails. Chef ranted. This reminded Chef of something. That reminds me you need to sharpen this, Chef said as he tossed Duncan pocket knife at him. What the F man, Duncan said. Then Eri and I were going to loot the rest of Owen's stash. But you all ruined it, so take the damn trophy and invinci effing bility, Chef said as he tossed not only the marshmallows but also the platinum camper and the graham cracker. The first marshmallow and the trophy went to Heather, the second on went to Izuku, and Cody caught the cracker. Chef gave the other three the evil eye as he prepares the last marshmallow. You, choke on this button, Chef said as he tossed the marshmallow at Duncan. Oh shit, I'm in the final three, Duncan said. Fat ass, nerd, you're out, Chef said. Doc of shame. Well, I play the game all right, but I had a good time, Cody said as he gets on the boat of losers. Best sticky buns ever, Owen said as he gets on the boat as well. Campfire site. Heather, Duncan, and Izuku were all sitting by the fire as she remarks that they're in the final three. Confessional booth. Beep. I just want to thank everyone who me this far. From Courtney to Lindsay. Thank you for helping get the 5 million, Heather said. Well shit, I didn't think I would get here. In fact, I should have gotten the boot. But what the hell, since I'm here I'm gonna win it all, Duncan said. Never in my life I thought I would win, but now that I'm here I'm gonna win it, Izuku said. Beep. Izuku goes back to his RV with Eri by his side, sleeping the night away, with a smile on his face. With Chris. So Nezu, we have a deal, Chris said. Well, since I need to convert my school to a university anyway, I see no harm in it, Nezu said. Awesome, Chris said with a smile. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 6. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Firem78910 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.